How's it going, everybody? Hope you're all doing well. So in this video, I want to discuss why you need a bug out bag, even if you do not plan on bugging out. We're going to be discussing why here on Stump Talk, even though I understand this is not a stump, we're out here at the range today, but the whole premise still exists. Is Stump Talk, for the folks that aren't familiar with it or new here, is trying to get you to think outside the box. Think about hard questions or stuff like that. Maybe you haven't thought about. Stimulate that brain, think about exterior things just so you have a plan. But today's topic is why you need a bug out bag. And I've been thinking about this recently just because everything has been going on recently. Man, those two hurricanes recently that hit, the southern United States really caused some issues. I mean, massive implications. And now we're not going to dive into the politics and kind of stuff like that. That is not the intent. But typically, all the time, what I do in the military is being active duty. We do after action reports. After something occurs, even if it's good or bad, we analyze and go, how could we make it better? What did we do wrong? Now, again, this Stump Talk isn't around that. It's not an after action report of that, but I'm gonna be taking key things away from it and explaining why you need a bug out bag. And a lot of people still will argue and say, I don't need one. I'm never gonna bug out. I'm always gonna bug into a household, which is very valid. So let's dive into that. All right, so bugging in versus bugging out, right? There's pretty much 2 or 3 different types of folks in this mindset. There's the folks that say, all my stuff is here, I am never going to bug out. And that makes it very valid, and I would agree with that. I am here on a homestead. We have put 20 years worth of work into this location, having tons of land, right, available to me. I'm not gonna leave unless I have to. And that is what we are talking about, is you have to leave. What if you have to? There is no other option, right? Think about the folks right now after those 2 hurricanes, right? Granted, they never thought the water level was ever gonna get that high. It was too late after they were like, hey, this is gonna get really bad. Roads were already cut off, it's already bad, bummer. But having a bag like this that you can just grab no matter what, where you are, even if water levels are rising and you're like, hey, I gotta get to the second story or my roof or something like that. And I'm not talking negatively on what happened at all. That is not the intent. The intent is to learn from it. So these things don't happen to other folks. Learn from it. So again, if you're getting on top of your roof, what are you gonna bring with you, right? You can't run around the house and go, well, I kind of need some of these preps and I kind of need some of that preps. You probably don't have time. But if you have a built bag that has everything in it, I'm talking documentation, social security numbers, bank accounts, water, food, water purification, maybe some communications gear. It doesn't have to be all your best stuff, but a singular bag that you can just pick up and go, even if you're not leaving your property, but it has everything in it ready to go, right? Some of those folks got airlifted out of there. Literally, helicopter came in, and sometimes the argument is, oh, they're not gonna make you bring a bag with you and all this stuff. Okay, to a degree, maybe yes and no, but we're talking about the bare minimum here. You may need to bug out of your home even if you never plan to bug out. And that's what I've saw quite a bit of the analyzation of these hurricanes and just in general. Even where I just came from, I was out west for years and years. I lived out there, and we were plagued with forest fires all the time. And people were in the same mindset. They're like, I have a homestead here, I'm not leaving. And then a massive fire would come through, and then authorities would show up and be like, do you have any way to fight this fire? And they're like, no, I don't. Like maybe some garden hoses, stuff like that. You're done, you're leaving, 100%. And they didn't plan to leave. They didn't plan to bug out. But in that moment, they're like, you're leaving, the fire is right there. Like literally you can see the flames over the ridge. You need to leave for your life. Those people never planned on bugging out. Some of them, I know for a fact, didn't have a bag because they wanted to bug in. Even if your plan is a bug in, have a bug out bag. Have something that you can grab immediately for you and your family that can leave. That's my opinion. Now, I know some people are going to maybe argue this point, and that's okay because everybody has their own opinions on it. I am sharing mine, what I've saw throughout my military career of people getting up and leaving, and like third world countries, first world countries, all over literally the world. I've saw the necessity for a bag, which is why I put so much effort into mine. And again, even if I would lose this entire bag, yes, that's a really bad day, but there's still other things that can keep me going. But man, the bag helps out a lot. So just in that context, we're starting a bag out, right? It's overwhelming. I'm not gonna get into too hardcore the details right now of starting out, but there is a lot of plans. There's tons of videos on mine and even YouTube. You don't even have to view my stuff if you don't want to. It's just make sure you're going to a reputable location. It's kind of hard to find out who's pushing products for money rather than trying to give you good information, which all my subscribers would know, like, hey, I'm not here to like literally make money. This is not my intent. I enjoy testing gear, and when things fail or when things are positive, that's what I show. And all my stuff in my bag is legitimate. I have tested it in adverse conditions. And if you don't believe me on that statement, go back and look at the whole video of the products, all kinds of stuff. I have tons of videos. One specifically, it's like about an hour long, but it discusses every single item in this bag and how it's effective, where I've used it, and the explanation behind it. Nice, there's a yellow jacket literally right on the frame or on the camera lens. Anyways, again, I'm here I'm not pushing products, I'm pushing a mindset or you building a kit for your family and for your safety. That's the intent of it. So this is typically what we do on Stump Talks. If you're still here, if you're new, you know, we typically talk outside the box, or kind of think outside the box, I guess you could say. Take information from other locations and bring it all together and give you my opinion on it, which I've been doing this for a little while. I'm not saying I'm perfect, it's just maybe it'll get you thinking. That's the intent. Stimulate thinking, and then you can come to your own conclusions. Just my intent of this. If you guys like this kind of stuff, like Stump Talk, or I guess it's kind of bench talk at the moment, which is weird, but same premise. If you like this kind of stuff, like, subscribe. We have Patreon as well if you want behind the scenes stuff, like, hey, why am I in new scenery? Where did that come from? What happened? Well, I discussed that on Patreon, right? Military said time to leave, but I'll give you the details over on Patreon about that kind of stuff. So, new environment, and how do I tailor the bag and stuff like that in the future coming up. So other than that, I hope you enjoyed this Stump Talk, got you thinking outside the box. Think about getting a bug out bag. I highly recommend it, and I hope y'all have a great day.